Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to learn History, Chapter 10, India's Struggle for Freedom. British colonial rule brought India under uniform laws and a unified administration. The British established railways, telegraph lines, and new roads and canals, which improved communication among Indians living far apart. The Indians received Western education, could communicate with one another in English. They took a keen interest in India's past and used the press feeling of cultural pride and unity among the people. They also became increasingly aware and critical of British economic exploitation, repression, and racial discrimination, all led to the rise of nationalism in India. Now, the first point, the rise of political associations. You have already read earlier in this book that British policies in India that caused several revolts among the various sections of the people, such as landed chiefs, peasants and rebels. In the second half of the 19th century, the educated Indians grew dissatisfied with certain British policies and attitudes. So now let us see Lord Lytton's policies. Some of the policies adopted during Lord Lytton's tenure as Viceroy were particularly unpopular with the educated Indians. Lytton increased taxes in India to meet useless military expenses. In 1877, the maximum age for appearing in the ICC examination was lowered from 21 to 19, making it almost impossible for Indians to enter the service. In 1878, Lytton passed the Arms Act to deny Indians the right to possess weapons, and the Vernacular Press Act to stop Indian press from criticizing the British policies. He also raised the duties on Indian cotton goods, thereby shifting the Indian textile industry. Early political associations. Around the 1850s, educated Indians started forming political associations to voice their discontent and to demand greater participation of Indians in administration. The 1860s, Dadabhai Naroji helped start the East India Association in England to create public opinion in favor of India. He was elected to the British Parliament, where he promoted India's cause. He wrote the book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, in which he criticized the suppression of civil liberties in India and the economic exploitation of India by the British. The Purna Sarvajanik Sabha was established in 1870 by M.G. Rande, Gopal Krishna Gogala and others. The Purna Sarvajanik Sabha, it was established in 1870 by M.G. Rande, Gopal Krishna Gogala and others. 1876, Sundarnath Banerjee and others established the Indian Association in Calcutta. Now next is the Ebert Bill controversy. Viceroy Lord Ripon, who succeeded Lord Lytton, introduced the Ilbert Bill. The Ilbert Bill was introduced by Lord Lytton. The bill permitted Indian judges to try Europeans in district level courts. This is Ilbert Bill that permitted the Indian judges to try European in district level courts. The Europeans strongly opposed the bill. The Ilbert Bill was strongly opposed by the Europeans, thus clearly showing their racial arrogance. Their protest ultimately caused the bill to be replaced by a milder version in which Europeans were to be tried by a jury consisting of Indians and Europeans. The Indians now felt the urgent need for an all-India organization to represent them. Now the birth of the Indian National Congress. Now next one is the birth of the Indian National Congress. Alan Octavian Hume, a retired civil servant, invited educated Indians to form an all-India organization to represent the Indian people. This led to the formation of the Indian National Congress. The Congress held the first session at Bombay on 28th December 1885. The Congress held its first session at Bombay in 28th December 1885. The session was presided over by Vimesh Chandra Banerjee and was attended by 72 delegates. The Congress led India's freedom movements, also called a national movement, from 1885 to 1947. The movement can be divided in four main phases. It can be divided in four main phases: the moderate phase, the extremist phase, the Gandhian phase, and the final phase. In this chapter, we will be studying the moderate and the extremist phase. Here, this movement, it was divided into four main phases. The first one is the moderate phase, the next is the extremist phase, third one the Gandhian phase, and the final phase. Here in this chapter, we will study the moderate and the extremist phase. Thank you.